It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of the yes movement. It was the epoch of the authority. It was the season of Nakamura versus AJ Styles. It was the season of the big dog. It was the spring of WrestleMania X7. It was the winter of December to Dismember. We had Rusev Day before us. We had the Ultimate Deletion before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. In short, SmackDown was really entertaining this week, whereas Raw was a raging dumpster fire. Hey everybody, this is some guy named Rob of On Your Marks Wrestling, and welcome to the SmackDown Live recap for March 20th, 2018. This is going to be a big contrast to my Monday Night Raw review because this show was pretty much all good. The show was tight and flowed well. Even the slow spots were kept to a minimum, with one exception, which I'll get to later. But there were a lot of positives to take away from this show. For one, it was a show that actually remembered it was there to set up its storylines for WrestleMania. There was very, very little filler in this show. The matches all had a purpose. They all, furthered storylines. They all got things ready and set and put in place for WrestleMania, which is exactly what you should be doing when you're 3 weeks away from the main event. Nakamura versus Rusev. You know what? It was really good. I liked their match at Fastlane. I liked actually the match at Fastlane a little bit better than this one, but I thought the ending to this one was actually a little bit better. Um, can we give Rusev a TV title maybe? Resurrect the television championship and have him defend it between Raw and SmackDown back and forth. Give the fans something that they want because they want to see more Rusev. And I think just having him defend a TV title, one, it keeps him in the spotlight. It gets him, keeps him over with the crowds. He's a draw. He's obviously a draw. It lets you take advantage of the fact that he's a draw and sell more merchandise. And then you have another title that you can defend each and every week on both of your main programs, and people get to see more Rusev, makes everybody happy. Plus, he'll actually get to win more matches from time to time, which will be great. Charlotte versus Natalia. Yeah, they're actually paying off something that was set up a couple weeks ago, right before Fastlane, where Natalia said she was going to challenge the winner of the women's title match from Fastlane to a match at WrestleMania. And of course, you had Natalia coming in complaining that her WrestleMania moment was stolen, turned into a match, non title, of course, on SmackDown. I thought it was a solid match. I liked it. It flowed pretty well for the most part. And I thought the finish was clever with the tease and the fake out for the cashing in of the Money in the Bank contract, leading to Natalia catching with a roll up. And the one takeaway that I really enjoyed most of all with this match, they didn't cut off the end of the segment by having a male wrestler's introduction theme play over the end of the match and then having all the women just suddenly disappear from the ring. Congratulations, WWE. You remembered how to SmackDown. Okay. Getting away from the cynicism for just a second, I actually like the Uso versus Harper match. There was a really great promo by both Usos before the match. These guys are putting out quality promos time and time again. And it's just great. I could listen to these guys. I don't mind when they take up a few minutes of screen time to cut a promo because it's always worth listening to. And the other thing that I liked about this match is that it was well paced. The one thing I hate is when you have a larger guy taking on a smaller guy, is the smaller guy will come out with this furious and flurry of offense and up tempo, and then the bigger guy takes control of the match, and the match slows to a crawl. This didn't happen here. Luke Harper can actually move in the ring. He's quick. He's agile. The pacing of the match, the up tempo was fantastic, and the match didn't go on for too long. It got the point across, did what it needed to do, set up what it needed to set up, and moved along quickly. Speaking of which, things that moved along quickly and were on point, the promo segments this week. They were really good. I actually even enjoyed the fact that they upgraded Randy Orton's robot software to version 2.0 that now features more fully articulated facial movements to allow for a more human-like emotional expression. He actually seemed to have personality to on SmackDown. So, kudos to Randy Orton for finding a personality 14, 15 years into his career. Um, okay, all right, I'll stop being cynical. Not a huge fan of Randy Orton, as you can tell, but he did really well in this segment. And I like the tease of sort of all the men getting together and just letting, having at it at the end, but it turned into kind of the Mexican standoff with all three guys staring each other down. Um, you know, did what it needed to do, got the point across, and we could move right along. Uh, this, of course, brings us to what is unquestionably the highlight of the night. Daniel Bryan announcing that he has been medically cleared to return to competition. And you know what? Normally, I would not have been a fan of someone taking up that much time in a very relatively short show to kind of go through all this and kind of rehash everything and do the video package and do the whole montage and what have you. But this is Daniel Bryan. This isn't just another self-absorbed McMahon standing in the middle of the ring, kind of telling everybody how great they are. Daniel Bryan's a great performer. The crowd obviously loves him. He's now once again the most over guy in the company. What are they going to do with him? Well, we'll see later in the show. But it's good to have him back. This is one of those times where I can't complain that Daniel Bryan took up nearly 40 minutes of a 2-hour show when you count the opening of the show and the ending segment of the show. Can't complain. The fact that they managed to squeeze the rest of the goodness of SmackDown into such a compressed time frame was amazing. And it makes it all the more impressive that they did it, that they got that show flowing so tight and like a well-oiled machine without having those screw ups like they had the last couple of weeks where wrestler themes cut off the end of segments when they shouldn't. Now, of course, this wouldn't be a Some Guy Named Rob recap if I didn't go into what I think could have been improved on the show or things that I didn't particularly like. Baron Corbin versus Ty Dillinger. The match was kind of useless. It was dull. There were no real stakes. It made it pure filler. And the ending of the match was a complete botch fest. I don't know if that was their mojo being thrown off by having a bunch of, maybe they had to reschedule a bunch of things because of Daniel Bryan's announcement at the beginning of the show, or because of what they were going to do at the end of the show, because now Daniel Bryan could take a bump. Um, yeah, not really sure what they were going with there, but the match really just didn't belong. The women's tag team match wasn't a fan. I've seen this match way too many times. It feels like I've seen some variation of Naomi and Becky Lynch taking on two members of the Riot Squad pretty much every other week since November. I know that's probably not the case, but that's how it feels. It just feels like I've seen this match way too many times to care. The finish just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know where this finish came from. It just kind of left me flat and hey, at least they didn't cut off the segment with a man's intro theme playing over the top, so I guess I should be happy about that. But the match just, I don't know why it was there, other than to announce that they were all going to be in the not the women's Royal Rumble, but the women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. The final thing that I was not a huge fan of was this is now 2 shows in a row with Zayn and Owens laying out an official. Last week it was Shane McMahon, this week it's Daniel Bryan. And when you couple that with the opening of Raw this week with the extended beatdown on Roman Reigns, and it's like, can we go a show or two without seeing a stretcher? It'd be nice. Can you think of something else that you could do? Um, we have to have more creative ways to end these shows, or to open shows, or to do things, or to have heels express displeasure. It's yeah, it's it's kind of falling flat for me because of how repetitive it is. Though I will note one thing, absolutely nobody was chanting "You deserve it" while Daniel Bryan was being strapped to a backboard. They were chanting his name because the crowds love him and they don't love Roman Reigns. easy note to make. Clearly going to fall on deaf ears for WWE executives who are making the booking decisions, but that's because the writers on Raw are idiots. Anyway, that's the recap. Nothing in the ugly category, really. The show was overall very, very enjoyable. Even the bad parts that I pointed out are kind of nitpicky in the overall scheme of things. So, yeah, keep this up. Please keep this level of quality. The problem is we get a really good show like this, and then the next week the quality of the show drops off a cliff, and then it makes me worry about what's going to happen at WrestleMania in a couple weeks. We're only like 18 days away. There's not a lot of margin for error, so if you really screw something up, you really don't have a lot of time to bring yourself back on course before the main show. So fingers crossed, maybe the guys on Raw learn something and the Red brand can come back with a strong show. In the meantime, I'm some guy named Rob. We'll catch you in the next video.